What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Zeta here, aka the guy your girl tells you not to worry about. Back at it again to drop what if Naruto was Tengen Uzui's reincarnation, or more specifically, what if Naruto had sound breathing, okay? So today's video, we're going to be discussing what if Naruto had a breathing style. And the sound breathing style is actually one of the most heavily underestimated, as well as like unknown breathing styles that we know from the series so far. Like, we literally only saw 2 of the breathing styles forms active, and that leaves us with a little bit of like any context to go off of this breathing style. So for most of it, I'm kind of just going to be making up my own forms, and if you guys want, you guys can actually comment some down below in the comments to help me out with the series. That being said though, guys, today's video will be having a like goal of 1,500 likes if you guys are going to be wanting a part 2, and I do hope you guys want this, because if not, series is straight gonna get like trash, like gone, done to those. So yeah, guys, if you guys end up wanting a part 2 and you enjoyed today's video, then definitely consider liking the video if you guys want it. So without any further ado, let's get right into the what if.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Alright, so we started our story off like many other Naruto what ifs. We're going to be beginning at Naruto's birth. Now, literally all of the Naruto events that happen in canon are all going to be remaining the same, with the slight change that Naruto in this version of events is going to be looking exactly like Tengen Uzui does in the Demon Slayer anime and manga. Meaning his hair is going to be white and he's going to be having like a pinkish type eyes, you know what I mean? That's the color of Naruto's eyes in this version. The only real other change is that when Minato sees this is pretty much going to be that he's a little sus of, you know, Kushina. Cause it's like, yo, like whose kid is this? You know what I mean? Like, did you do something? Are you for the streets? Kushina would assure him that that's not the case, and Minato would be way too preoccupied with the Nine Tails, also a little sad and thinking that Kushina is for the streets. And so, yeah, Naruto still gets protected by Minato because at the end of the day, he trusts and can sense that Kushina was not lying to him. Seeing as he's a ninja, he has to be at least pretty good at, you know, determining whether some people are lying to him or not. That being said, Minato and Kushina would end up sacrificing their lives for Naruto, just like in canon, and this would proceed to lead to Hiruzen ending up raising Naruto, quote unquote, raising him. As we basically get to that, we will essentially start off the story with Naruto being 5 years old. Now, at this point, Naruto, like as I said, is 5 years old, and at this point, Naruto had been living by himself for about a couple of months now, seeing as Hiruzen just barely started giving Naruto his basic, you know, his rent money and stuff like that, giving him the spoiled milk and the rotten and the, you know, the messed up noodles and stuff. So Naruto at this point had nothing to eat, so he essentially decided to go out to the market, where Naruto ended up pulling a little bit of a prank in order to get somebody's attention. This led to the complete opposite of what Naruto wanted, leading to a couple of the villagers there to get very angry at Naruto. And a couple of them at this point had been deciding that they were going to be getting rid of the Nine Tails on this particular day. So seeing Naruto kind of made them all happy, and they essentially proceeded to set Naruto up, telling him that, you know, they were just, you know, gonna give him stuff. Naruto luckily was able to run away, and this is when Naruto would begin to run in towards a forest. Almost out of the Leaf Village, Naruto would be running for his dear life as a bunch of villagers would be chasing after Naruto with pitchforks and kunais and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Naruto would be terrified, and as Naruto would be turning around basically to see where the villagers are at, he would notice that they're not too far behind, as Naruto would slightly think that things will be okay, and right as he turns back around to see where he's going, he ends up bumping into a swordsman who at this point is around like 60 years, like 40, like early 50 years old, right? As The swordsman would just look at Naruto and like just see the fear in his eyes, as he would immediately just wonder what's going on. And this is when he would see a bunch of villagers are chasing after this boy. The man would see this, he would immediately look towards Naruto, who would just hide behind the man, as a bunch of the villagers would see this old guy, as they would say, "Get out of the way, old man. You know, we're just here for the brat and nothing else. No one else needs to get hurt." But this is when the ninja would just look at them and be like, "So you're here for a literal child to do exactly what?" As the villagers would be like, "Get out of our way!" And one of them would actually end up rushing at the man, as he would say, "Die, since you want to protect that demon." As this is when the man would immediately unsheath his blade, as he would cut the man's head clean off, and then turn towards the rest of the villagers, as he would aim his sword at them and say, "All of you, we're here chasing after a defenseless child. You should be ashamed of yourselves." As he would blitz at all of them and say, "I'll put you all out of your miseries." As he would just cut off each and every single one of their heads, all of the villagers would just die instantly. As their entire lives flashed before their eyes, Naruto would simply be standing behind the man as he just protected him. And after Naruto sees this, his eyes would widen as he would see the blood just going all over the ground. As the swordsman would just, he would kind of like sheath his sword back and take the blood off. As Naruto would look at him and just be in disbelief at what just happened. The samurai or like ninja would look at Naruto as he would question why he had to run away from them. Naruto would essentially just say that he doesn't know, and that they were calling him a demon of sorts, telling him that, they were going to kill him today. As Naruto, he just had this fear in his eyes, saying that he doesn't want to go back. The man would look at Naruto as he just looks at him and just sees that this kid genuinely does not feel safe. So what he would do is essentially wrap his arm around Naruto and tell him that would he feel better going back if he was to get strong like him. As Naruto would nod his head, the man would immediately look at Naruto as he would say, "All right, well, come with me." As Naruto would just begin to walk with this man over to a shack area. Naruto would walk inside and he would see a bunch of blades and like an area that looks like a place to train. As Naruto would ask the man what exactly he's going to be helping him with and how to get stronger. The man would unsheath his blade as he would look at him and say, "Before that, you need to pass a test." As Naruto would say, "What test?" And the man would simply smile, telling him that he has to survive an entire week alone in the forest. As Naruto's eyes would simply widen, thinking that there's no way he's going to be able to do that. But the man would simply tell him that don't worry, he's going to have a little assistance, seeing as he's 5 years old. He would give Naruto a canteen of water and a little bit of food, as he would tell Naruto that his goal is to survive for the week. He has enough water and food for the next 3 days. And Naruto's journey to basically survive for an entire week would begin. Naruto would start by drinking some water and simply going into the forest, finding an area where he should rest. He would find a cave as Naruto would go inside, and this is when he would see that a bear is in there. Naruto, seeing this, would basically run off, seeing as he does not want to die, and the bear would begin to chase after Naruto. This is when the man would rush down from a tree as he would slice the bear in half, telling him that he needs to focus. Another one of those won't be so easy to avoid because there will be no more help. That was his one freebie. And Naruto at this point would strengthen his resolve as a 5-year-old Naruto, that's right, 5 years old, would proceed to have to go into the forest and essentially go to an area where he knows that there will be no peace. About 4 days would pass and Naruto would have realized that he's all out of water and food. And so what Naruto would do is he would remember the location of a river nearby as he would go over to fill his canteen up and drink up all of the water that he could. He would fill up the canteen and it would last for about 1 day as Naruto would decide that he's definitely going to simply just have to stay in hiding. Naruto would do this, but this is when Naruto would notice that a couple of wolves were getting near him. And Naruto would by his side see a small little kunai that he had. It was a little bit of a gift that Hiruzen gave him so long ago, as it would be 3 wolves in total who would be like rushing at Naruto, just basically trying to get their next meal. But Naruto would hold the kunai out to the wolves and through sheer resolve alone would look at them as he would say, "Come on!" And the wolves would immediately look at Naruto as one of them would immediately just begin to run off, as Naruto was able to successfully scare them off. And seeing this, the man would come down from the trees as he would say, "You pass." Naruto would say, "But it hasn't," as the man would simply look at him and say, "You passed." Naruto would then have a sigh of relief as he would look at him and ask, what's next? And for the next couple of years, Naruto would proceed to train in sound breathing. This being very, very efficient training, because the way that I'm going to be having sound breathing work is essentially that, actually, I'm not going to explain that too much right now. Just know Naruto learns the very, very good fundamentals about the sound breathing technique that he's going to be using. That being said, during this time skip, Naruto of course ends up growing taller, stronger, and he ends up developing in terms of his looks. At this point, Naruto is a pretty tall boy for his age, and with the eyes that he has, his hair would have ended up growing a little long, as Naruto would rock mostly a little bit of a man bun look, seeing as his sensei decided that he's not gonna cut his hair. So that's the look that Naruto ends up rocking, and Naruto, just simply put, looks very, very good. And so by this time, Naruto's swordsman abilities would be very, very well. And at this point, it would be about 2 years into the academy time. So Naruto is approximately 12 years old, or no, let's say Naruto's 11. So we had a total of 6 years to master sound breathing. Since Tanjiro in the Demon Slayer anime was able to learn water breathing, or at least the very basic fundamentals, in about 2 or 3 years, then I think that 6 years is more than likely for a boy at the level that Naruto is, because you have to remember, this is a shinobi world where people are kind of in a situation where it's kill or be killed. So the kids in this generation are way stronger, not to mention Naruto is the literal son of Kushina as well as Minato, the 4th Hokage. So Naruto has pretty good genes and is the reincarnation of somebody who has even better genes. So Naruto is just blessed. Naruto just kind of has everything kind of handed off to him. That being said, this is when Naruto would just kind of go home, as he ended up collecting some wood for the fire. The man would simply look at Naruto, as at this point, I think it's about time that I give the man a name. And we are going to be going with the name Saejima. Now, I took inspiration because Rogex usually uses that name for all of his characters that he just randomly ends up introducing. So Rogue, I'm going to take that name from you real quick. Just let me borrow it for 5 minutes, So yeah, Saejima. Saejima would look right at Naruto, as Naruto would look at the man and ask him what they're going to be doing today for training. As at this point, Naruto is very strong, and he's had a couple of spars with Saejima. Saejima would simply turn towards Naruto, as he would have a little bit of a saddened face, as he would turn to him and say, "Today, you have your final exam. I want to see how ready you are and prepared you are to face the world." Naruto would smile as he would say, "You're on. We gonna spar again or what, old man?" As Saejima would turn towards Naruto and say, "We will. But this time," as he would give him a death stare, he would say, "To the death." Naruto's eyes would widen as he would drop his sword and all the firewood, as he would essentially look at Naruto and take him outside, simply walking in silence. As Naruto walks behind him, he would ask him if he's joking. But Saejima would simply turn towards Naruto, as he would say, "He's not joking. This has to happen. This is what Naruto has been training up for." As Saejima would turn towards Naruto and tell him that he better not hold back, and that he was actually going to end up getting rid of himself the day that he met Naruto. Because as things were, Naruto was already going to essentially, when he bumped into Saejima, Saejima was on the way to the forest to essentially grab a rope, and you know exactly what he was going to be doing with that. So Saejima was already essentially preparing his own death. And Naruto is kind of just shocked, because Saejima would have revealed this to Naruto. Naruto would ask him why such a great person like himself would ever consider doing anything like that, as he would simply be yelling at him, begging for the answers. Saejima would stay silent, as he would look at him and tell him that he doesn't know everything about him, that he hardly knows anything, and that he would essentially turn towards him as he would explain his backstory, telling Naruto that when he was around 30 years old, he had 4 sons, which he actually ended up training in order to become very, very powerful shinobis. But he would look down at the ground as he would say that 3 of all of his sons ended up dying because the training was simply too harsh for them. And the 4th one, he ended up gaining power, and through that power ended up trying to kill him, his own father. He would say that he understands that it was reasonable, but he wishes that on that day he had died instead of his own son, because through sheer rage, his son ended up accidentally killing himself with one of the slashes. Saejima would have accidentally led to his own son's demise. All 4 of his sons lost. He would turn towards Naruto and say, but then, suddenly, when all hope was lost, I met a small boy with white hair. You, Naruto, I met you. And you're the simple reason why I feel like atoning with death will be perfect. One of my students should be the one to do it. He would then go down on his knees as he would turn towards Naruto and say that he doesn't even want to fight him. As he would drop his blade, Naruto would look at him, holding his, gripping the sword so hard his hands would start to bleed. As he would turn his blade and aim it right at him, he would say, stand up and fight, you coward. I won't be slicing down a man who doesn't even have the strength to look up at me. Saejima would grab his blade as he would stand and get into a swordsman position, as he would simply say, first breath, sound breathing, he would say first breathing style, as he would essentially use that form, which at this moment is kind of just blank in my head. I'm not gonna lie, it's just completely blank, but he would essentially grab one of the blades, because he uses this with one blade instead of 2, and he would end up slicing down. As explosions would go off, Naruto would jump back as he would rush in at Saejima, and he would begin to perform a couple of slashes which Saejima would be able to dodge with ease. Naruto would then turn towards him as he would spin both blades in his hands, seeing as he fights with 2 blades, as they're not specifically like blades. They're more like how would I essentially explain this? I never really explained exactly what it is that he's uses. He doesn't exactly use swords, but he uses his superhuman strength in order to read his opponents and use sound and the rhythm of their movements to essentially be able to track them, taking advantage of their opponent's openings. Or so that's how Saejima trained Naruto, and it would kind of take effect in the beat of a song. And he would use these anti bombs, in the anime they're anti-demon bombs, but this Naruto would use normal bombs that simply explode, and they're pretty powerful. As he would use what type of blades are they called? They're Kusarigama blades. They're 2 gigantic dual blades that are similar to, okay, we're just gonna say that they're swords, okay? It really doesn't matter, but they're 2 gigantic Kusarigama blades, like cleavers. Think cleavers, but they're long, and they have sharp ends at the tips of their blades that hold them together with a metal chain, and they have a lot of explosive power with each hit. It's a special ability that is engraved with the blade, so it doesn't cause any backlash to himself, or at least not anymore, because at the beginning of his training, Naruto definitely had to deal with a lot, and I mean a lot, of backlash. That being said, Naruto and Saejima's battle would rage on, as Naruto, by the end of everything, would sadly be defeated. Naruto would fall down onto one knee as he would almost be pierced by Saejima, but Saejima would turn at Naruto as he would say, I can't do it. He would fall down to 2 knees as he would grab his blade and try to go over to basically cut himself down with it, as Naruto, using his quick reflexes, would kick the blade right out of Saejima's hand, as Saejima would just look at Naruto with both of his hands shaking, thinking that he was really gonna do it, as Naruto would stop him, telling him that there's no way that a great man like him is going to be able to have to simply go through death to atone with the death of his sons. Naruto would look at him as he would say, you saved my life on the day that you came, and now I repaid that death. You're not gonna kill yourself. You're gonna live, whether it's for me or for your sons. People out there just like me may need your help, and with you just getting rid of yourself, you're not gonna solve the problem. You're simply gonna keep it going. What do you think's gonna happen when you're gone? There's no atoning in this. This is the coward's way out. This is not what you trained me for. As Saejima would, kind of realize that Naruto was making so much sense. Saejima just sitting there yo, this man is kind of spitting facts, you know what I mean? Naruto would simply look at him as he would say, live, for me. As tears would start pouring down his face, he would drop his blade and go down to Saijima's. He would hug him and tell him that Naruto needs him to be alive. He's the closest thing to a father figure he ever had. And although maybe he may have made a couple of mistakes raising his real biological sons, Naruto looks at him dead in the eyes as he would say that you made zero mistakes with me. As he would basically call him his dad and essentially proceed to tell him that he loves him. As Saijima would just realize that all this time, he had somebody there who cared for him, a reason to live. As like an image of an even younger Naruto when he was 5 years old would go into his head, Saijima would hug Naruto back as they would share a moment, and this would lead to Naruto essentially looking at Saijima, as Saijima would stand up telling Naruto that now's not the time to cry, that he's going to take his advice and go off, as he's going to be atoning by his sin through a long journey. Naruto would look at him as he would smile and think that that's great to hear. He would simply just look at his, his father figure as, he would pack his things, telling his dad that he better come back alive to him. Naruto would wave his, his father figure off as Naruto would begin to make his way over towards the Hidden Leaf Village, thinking that although he doesn't really want to get there, he might as well, seeing as that's the only place he could have also called a home. Naruto would arrive in front of the Leaf Village gates as the two guards who were there would simply question who he is and why he's there. Naruto would simply say, "What, don't you recognize me? It's Naruto." And the guards would look at Naruto as they would say, "Naruto? What? That's you?" Naruto would simply just chuckle as he would say, "Yeah, been a long time." They would say, "We thought you were dead." As Naruto would say, "No, I'm very much alive. I'm still kicking the bucket around." As they would immediately say, "We need to report this to the Lord Third." And this is when they would essentially proceed to escort Naruto to Hiruzen. To which Hiruzen would ask Naruto where he has been all this time. And Naruto would explain what happened the day that he left and where he has been. As he would tell Hiruzen that he has been training. Hiruzen, hearing this, would simply realize that, okay, that's good. At least Naruto came back, and question Naruto on the location of Saijima. But Naruto would simply say that he's off to atone for his sins. And Hiruzen would simply understand this as he would nod, asking Naruto if his training was fruitful, and if he's going to feel ready to enter the Ninja Academy. Hiruzen would look at Naruto as Naruto would simply say, "Oh yeah, definitely." With Hiruzen essentially asking Naruto to prove his strength to himself, seeing if his training, provided to be very fruitful. Hiruzen would end up going outside with Naruto as he would have both of his elite Anbu guards rush at Naruto. And Naruto, seeing this, would immediately smirk as he would, basically unsheath both blades, and he would throw one of them he would throw them in opposite direction as soon as the Anbu get close, as it would proceed to essentially pierce into their guts. Naruto would grab the chains as he would yank them back, and both of the Anbu ninjas would clash heads together. Naruto would then proceed to jump into the air as he would spin kick both of them, causing them both to get flung into the ground. Naruto would then basically yank both of his swords out as Hiruzen, seeing this amazing display of power, would simply be shocked, questioning Naruto as to how it was that he got this powerful. So Naruto at this point would be at around Kakashi Zabuza level, in case you guys need a comparison of strength as to how strong Naruto is at this point. And keep in mind, Saijima is even stronger. When he has his resolve, there's literally nothing that Saijima cannot cut down. So Naruto is very, very, very powerful. Immediately after seeing this, Hiruzen would ask Naruto where his strength comes from, with Naruto explaining that he trained in the art of sound breathing, explaining to Hiruzen exactly what it is, and telling Hiruzen that the way that he uses it is essentially a breathing style which amplifies his chakra levels, which is exactly what I'm going to be converting this to in the Naruto universe. So in this, I'm going to be saying that breathing styles amplify your chakra levels, allowing your body to reach its full potential and letting your body essentially do the moves that the Demon Slayer characters are able to use. Except in this world, breathing styles are even more OP than in the world of Demon Slayer, because of the fact that these aren't just some base average humans. They're humans which have the power of chakra within them. So the breathing style not only amplifies their base human abilities to their max, it also amplifies their chakra, serving as a thing very similar to that of the inner gates, allowing them to push their body and regenerate faster, take blows faster, essentially just coming with all of the basic perks that breathing styles come with originally. That being said, in case you guys don't know, the breath of sound is kind of a derivative of the breath of thunder, so kind of similar to that of Zenitsu's. That being said, though, this is when, Hiruzen, after hearing this, would simply smirk, thinking that, he would like to test his own strength against Naruto. Naruto would smile, thinking that he's flattered, but there's no way he'll be able to beat Hiruzen as he is now. Maybe another day. Hiruzen would basically take a puff of his little thing that he has, as Naruto would proceed to ask Hiruzen if, he displayed enough power to get into the academy and not be held back. As Hiruzen would explain to Naruto that he definitely showed that skill, and that if he really wanted to, he could already be promoted into a Chunin. But Naruto would simply say that nah, he wants to continue with the class that he was going in. As Hiruzen would simply smile, thinking that yeah, that's fine, and the very next day, Naruto would end up going, that same day, Naruto would end up going to his house, as he would see that he has a lot of cleaning to do. Naruto would immediately get to work, as he would start cleaning his old house that he used to spend so much time in, as Naruto would simply just be thinking that, this is just like old days. He would end up going to Ichiraku Ramen that same day to go get an amazing bowl of ramen that he loved so much, as it's at this point that the next day after that, Naruto would report to class. Iruka would introduce Naruto, saying that they have a new student in the class. And as for Naruto's drip, of course, my boy is going to be wearing Tengen's drip. That fire outfit that he wears. If I had to say who has the most dope Demon Slayer outfit of all of them, it's definitely Tengen. This man is saucy. Like the way that his arms just simply come out and the muscle definition that he has on them, that is so fire. Also, guys, quick question: would you guys like the breath of what's it called? The breath of wind, I think it is, like the Hashira who basically attacked Nezuko, like that guy. If you guys would want like a reincarnation version of him, or maybe the breath of stone, I think it was, then I could definitely make those too, because those other characters honestly seem awesome. Like they're all cool in their own respective ways. That being said, though, we of course have Naruto entering the classroom, and this part is actually getting pretty long, so I'm probably just gonna end it off in like a couple 10 more minutes, probably something around that. But yeah, that being said, this is when Naruto would end up arriving into the academy. As we just have Iruka introducing him, and immediately all of the girls, excluding Sakura, would just be drooling over Naruto, thinking that there's no way that that's who they think it is. And Iruka would say the name Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto would just be getting stares from all of the girls, and everybody would move to the side saying, "You can sit here, Naruto." People would be looking at him, Ino included, and Hinata would simply be twirling her fingers, because at this point she has the massive crush that she has for Naruto, just like in canon, because he still ended up saving her, because he saved her when he was around 4 years old, I believe. So Naruto still has this crazy crush coming in from Hinata. That being said, Naruto would end up sitting next to some random girl, and Naruto would just sit down in class, as at this point they basically Naruto just sitting in the back, sitting next to these girls that are all up on him, and class would finally end. Naruto would have actually been keeping his eye on one certain person in the classroom, Sasuke Uchiha, the one boy with the blue Uchiha crest on his back. He seems to be troubled. Naruto would question why he's so, quiet and like an emo lesbian kid, as some of the girls would start chuckling, thinking that that was funny. Sakura would be like, "What did you say about my Sasuke?" And Sasuke would turn towards Naruto's direction and give him a death stare. Naruto would simply laugh in Sasuke's face, because that's just the personality that he has, and Sasuke would get pretty angry. Iruka would then come into the classroom, as he would tell them that for today they're just going to end it off with some light sparring, as he would end up picking out names, and it would be said that Naruto was actually going to be fighting against Sasuke, and this would lead to Naruto essentially showing everybody that not only is he way better looking than Sasuke, but he's stronger too. And everybody would just go haywire when they see the way that Naruto manhandles Sasuke. As soon as the match starts, Naruto blitzed at Sasuke, literally taking out he doesn't even take out the blades. He rushes at Sasuke using his base chakra control, and he amplifies his fist similar to what Sakura does, because he had a couple of years to do chakra training. He would rush at Sasuke, as he would basically shoot a fireball right at Naruto's direction, but Naruto would jump up into the air, dodging the fireball and landing in front of Sasuke. Sasuke would, get a little scared, as he would step back almost near the edge of the circle, as Naruto would simply come down and kick Sasuke out, leading to Naruto being the winner, with everybody just in silent, thinking that this kid is even stronger than Sasuke. Everybody's going like just bananas as they're all just like cheering for him, and a bunch of the girls are thinking that Naruto is just amazing. A couple of villagers would have been watching this as they would be like, the demon's back, and they would report to Hiruzen saying that, they can't stand for this. How dare, the demons still breathe. As Hiruzen hearing this would be pretty angry at the fact that these villagers feel this way, telling them that if they speak ill-willed about Naruto ever again, they're going to be put to the harshest, punishment like there is. Since, Hiruzen actually thinks that Naruto's a respectable ninja in this version of events. He's not sitting here pranking people, So Naruto is actually way different than he is in the original. Of course, he's still a goofy person, but it's a little different. That being said, this is when I'm kind of just going to be skipping over to the day of the graduation, seeing as nothing really interesting is going to be happening during this little time skip, this small one at that. That being said, during this entire time, Naruto would have been a certified kitty magnet. This man would have been the guy. He would have been that, like, your girl tells you not to worry about him type guy. Yeah, that's the person that Naruto is. Also, speaking of that, did you guys think, what did you guys think about the intro? I like to just mess around with them and just say whatever comes to my mind, like at that moment, and that's kind of just what came to my mind when I did the intro. So if you guys have any other funny intro recommendations, please leave them down below in the comment section, and whoever's I think is the funniest, I'm just gonna be pinning you down below and using it for my next video. That being said though, guys, also remember to like the video, seeing as 1,500 if you guys want the next part. That being said though, guys, obviously being that the graduation exam is here, they would be taking a written portion, which Mizuki would of course be grading, as well as a physical portion. When it comes to the written portion, Naruto's test actually gets trashed, and he ends up actually telling Naruto that he failed, telling him that, he did it. Actually, nah, I'm not gonna say that. Naruto's test would be trashed, and Naruto would realize this as, he would kind of just like sneak off, hiding his presence in the classroom, as Mizuki would go up to another student telling him that, there's another part to the, exam. Mizuki doesn't like Naruto because, he's the demon fox. And so Naruto seeing this would be like, yo, okay. So it's like that. As, of course, Naruto proceeds to, do his thing and follow Mizuki out when, Mizuki has the kid steal the scroll. So when the kid is out in Hiruzen's office trying to take it, Naruto actually catches him in the act, telling him that Mizuki lied to him, that he'll handle it. As the boy would just tell Naruto that, he hopes he doesn't tell anybody, freaking out, thinking that ain't no way Mizuki lied to him. Naruto would then meet up with Mizuki as he would just fold this man like an omelet. Like, I'm telling you, it is not funny. Naruto obliterates Mizuki in like an instant, using his strongest attack. He would actually end up using his, he would end up using his fifth form. He would grab both blades, he would spin them around, and a bunch of countless explosions would be going off, as Mizuki's body would quite literally be turned into like cremated ashes after Naruto was done with him. And after this, we would just proceed to have like the very next day come around, where they're now going to be taking the physical portion. And after this, it would be announced that Naruto is the rookie of the year. After this, Genin teams would be assigned, with Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto, Uzumaki all being assigned to the same team. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are going to be ending What If Naruto Had Sound Breathing. This is going to be one of the most dysfunctional teams that I think I'll ever be doing on one of my what ifs, seeing as Naruto and Sasuke in this version just don't mix well. Naruto has more of a flamboyant personality, with Sasuke being, in the eyes of Naruto, an emo lesbian. So it's like they don't clash very well, and Sakura, she very well hates Naruto. So if you guys want to find out what happens with this amazing team, then definitely go down below and hit that like button if you guys want a part 2. That being said though, guys, it has been your boy Zether, and I am out. Peace.